you're a sky, 'cause you're a sky full of stars. I'm gonna give you my heart, 'cause you're a sky, 'cause you're a sky full of stars. 'Cause you light up the park. I don't care, go on and tear me apart. I don't care if you do. 'Cause in the sky, 'cause in the sky full of stars, I think I saw you. You're a sky full of stars. I wanna die in your arms. Oh, oh. 'Cause you get lighter the more it gets dark. I'm gonna give you my heart. Oh, I don't care. In a sky full of stars, I think I see you. I think I see you. Lately, I've been losing sleep, dreaming about the things that we could be. But baby, I've been praying hard. Said no more counting dollars, we'll be counting stars. Yeah, we'll be counting stars. Like a swinging vine, swing my heart across the line. In my face is flashing signs. Seek it out and ye shall find. Old, but I'm not that old. Young,
ready to rock and roll. Am I asking them to take their seats? I don't think it's necessary now. You would have put them out before. Yeah, don't worry about it. Go ahead. Go for it. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. I hope you had a great lunch. Welcome back. We'd ask you to please find your seat so we can start the second half of today's meeting. We'll go straight into our business session. Before we get started, if you came in and did not receive a voting device and you are a registered delegate, please raise your hand and the staff will bring one over to you. If you are holding a device that you may have not returned the other day and now have two devices, one of them will not work, but we'd love to have that second device back. We are still missing those three devices. We know the numbers, we know where you may have been sitting, but the GPS tracker is blinking and saying they're somewhere in this facility. If you have them by mistake, no problem. Nobody's getting yelled at, nobody's getting chastised, but we'd like to have them back. Please turn it into a member of our team if you have it. I'd also like to take this time to recognize two of our delegates that were appointed to sit with the staff during the legislative session and be on hand verifying the voting for board elections and legislation. We have, please stand when you're recognized, Charles Easterwood from the Alabama State USBC. And you heard from her earlier, Jean Tandela Smith from Ohio State WBA. Thank you, Jean and Charles, for being a part of our session. Now please welcome your Legal and Legislative Committee Chair, Mark Martin, to begin with this session.
Thank you, Frank. Good afternoon, delegates. It's good to have you here. Now, as we enter this legislative session, please remember you refer to your proposed amendment book that you got when you checked in at registration. Now, Frank will chair this session. I will announce each proposed amendment. If that proposed amendment comes from a committee through the USBC board, it does not require a second, and once announced, the motion is on the floor for discussion. I will also advise you of each of the proposed amendments of the recommendation of the USBC board. Now, the presenter of the amendment will get first opportunity to speak. Now, proposed amendments are primary amendments. An amendment to that primary amendment is defined as a secondary amendment under Robert's Rules of Order. If there is an amendment to one of these proposed amendments in the book, we will ask that when possible, these be submitted in writing for clarification and correctness. Secondary amendments to the proposed or primary amendment are voted on prior to the action on the proposed amendment, which appears in your book. The chair will state the amended version, the secondary amendment. Now, as far as the microphones go, the delegate or registered attendee is allowed a 2-minute discussion and, when needed, a rebuttal of an additional 2 minutes once all first-time speakers have had their opportunity to speak. So if you do want to speak to an amendment, you go to a microphone and a USBC staff member will notify the chair and you'll be duly recognized. Now, when it is your turn, please state your name and the association of which you represent. And at that point, 2 minutes will begin, and we do have a clock up here. The discussion will continue until the chair deems it is appropriate to vote or a call for the motion has been adopted. Now, you should have one of these. All registered delegates have got one of these. That's equivalent to a written ballot. And please note that for any amendment needing a ballot vote, President Wilkinson will announce the numbers on your voting keypad to use. As an example, you'd press 1 to approve, 2 to reject. You may press the button many times or change your vote. However, your last selection is the one that will count. And you'll get a green light will indicate that your vote has been registered. Now, for league and tournament rules, a majority vote is required to adopt, and for bylaws, a 2/3 vote is required. If you do make a mistake, on your voting, you got a chance to fix it. Again, the last vote that you cast is the one that gets recorded. Now, this year we've added a new verification process. Some of you that were in the rules seminar the other night are aware of it. So anyone that has a concern about their device can confirm their vote and make sure indeed it gets counted. And so at this time we have a video to show you about that verification process.
Before we begin with today's voting, let's take a moment to understand how the voting process works. First, you should have been given a voting device with a secure sticker on the back that is numbered from 1 to 1400. You will need this device in order to cast your vote. If you have not received one of these devices, please see a staff member after this video is complete in order to receive one. Once everyone has a voting device, voting will begin. After you cast your vote, the green light on your device should display to let you know that your vote has gone through, at which time a signal is sent to the software. Your vote can be verified through the software by a member of the balloting committee, which is a group that is made up of 2 delegates. If you do not feel that your vote has been tallied, please inform a staff member and provide your voting device number. The staff member will inform the balloting committee, who will then check the software to ensure that the vote has been counted. If it is determined that your vote has been counted, this will be confirmed by a staff member. If your device has not registered a vote, then a member of the staff will reprogram the device and allow you to vote again. If the device still does not register a vote after reprogramming, then a new voting device will be issued and you will be asked to cast your vote again. Once all voting issues have been resolved, the results of the vote will be displayed and the voting process will continue. If you have any questions throughout the process, please feel free to ask a member of the staff for assistance.
Also, in regards to your voting devices, if you do have to leave the room for any reason during this session, you'll need to give your keypad to a designated staff member at the door. And then you'll be given another keypad once you return. I'd like to introduce the individuals that I may call upon during this session to help answer any questions. First off, I'd like to recognize the members of the Legal and Legislative Committee, Tony Colangelo, Joe Diamond, Kelly Kulick, Steve O'Brien, Rhino Page, and Marcy Williams. Also, we have 2 members of staff. They're going to assist us, Mike Spridko, Senior Director of Rules, and Lori Smedick, Rules Counselor. And finally, I'd like to introduce our legal counsel and parliamentarian, Scott Bechtel. Mr. Bechtel is a partner in the law firm of Michael Best and Friedrich. He's worked on many legal matters on behalf of USBC and is well versed on our history and our bylaws. Now, you ready to go? Everybody ready? Now that we're all well versed, know all the rules, let's get started. Open up your proposed amendment program to page 3. Okay, the first proposal is a league rule. It's an LR. LR1 is proposed by Mr. Robert Peters, Sr. of Lehigh Acres, Florida. It's recommended for rejection by the USBC Board of Directors. Mr. Peters, go to a microphone to speak on behalf of his amendment. It's coming over here.
I am standing.
I know that, Bob. I'm the same way.
Oh, we hear it all the time. I'm Robert Peters. I'm from Florida State USBC Bowling Association. This amendment went in after we were running some tournaments, and actually it was just culminating from several people who were new to leagues, etc., and just starting out, and we didn't have January 1 averages for them, so they had to bowl scratch. Later on, we found out they did have averages. But that wasn't the primary reason I wanted this amendment. In my home association, I am also the association manager. We have found over the past 5 years, when I get January 1 averages, I also compare them to league secretary standings. We have found anywhere from 350 to 500 members joining leagues after they start and never paying a membership fee. We go out after them. And looking at that, I said, well, we're losing membership. This is one little avenue with a small amount of work that might bring us back a couple 100,000 nationwide. If I can get that many in one, how many can you get? I hope you pass it. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. Any other discussion? Calling for any other discussion on LR1? Hearing none, let's proceed to the voting.
One for yes and 2 for no, right?
Yep. You can now vote on proposal LR1. Oh, go ahead. Hey. Voting is now open. 1 to approve, 2 to reject. If anybody is not comfortable that their vote recorded, please raise your hand and let us know. There's one here. That one's good. Okay. Good. David? Okay. Voting is now closed. Can use a little music in between this. No. If he thinks Chad's singing is bad, the toilet bowl flushes when I sing in the shower. By your actions, you have rejected rules proposal LR1. There you go.
Okay, on to LR2. LR2 is proposed by Robert Guion Jr. of Austin, Texas, recommended for rejection by the USBC board. Is Mr. Guion in the auditorium? Frank.
Chair recognizes speaker at microphone 1.
Okay, no fault of yours. My name is Richard Gullion. I'm from the Greater Austin area, USBC Association. And my proposal is that the legal lineup be at the start of the game versus through the first frame. My reasoning for this is you always have somebody in your league that's always late. And a lot of times they'll come in there and they'll wait. And if you wait till the next to last bowler there and he comes in, then he puts his shoes on and all that. The person usually late always has to tape his fingers, put on his braces, and all this. and then gets there. And then by the time he gets ready to bowl, another bowler comes in. Well, at this time, the people that were there on time have already bowled and practiced, warmed up, and they got it. According to like Mr. Berger said yesterday, and one of the reasons we're losing members is because we're delaying this game. And in my opinion, the delay of this game by that waiting on that bowler till the end of the first frame rather, instead of the start of the game, disrupts the flow of the traffic, plus it changes the mindset of the bowlers that were there on time. When you join a league, it's underwritten assumption that you're going to be at a certain place at a certain time on a certain date. And I think they should be made to force that. Now, granted, there are outside circumstances, and those should be taken on a case-by-case basis. So we shouldn't disrupt our time, and we should keep it moving smoothly. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Please come forward to a microphone. Any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll open the voting. Voting is now open. Press 1 to approve, 2 to reject Rules Proposal LR2. Again, if there's anyone that's not comfortable that your vote was recorded, please let us know by raising your hand. Okay. Voting is now closed for LR2. By your actions, you have rejected Rules Proposal LR2.
Now we're into tournament rules. TR1. TR1 is proposed by the Legal and Legislative Committee and the United States Bowling Congress and recommended for adoption.
Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, we'll open the voting. Voting is now open for Rules Proposal TR1. Press 1 to approve, 2 to reject. Staying consistent, I'll ask again if anybody's uncomfortable with their device not voting, please let a staff member know by raising your hand. We're good. Okay, voting is now closed for TR1. By your actions, you have approved Rules Proposal TR1.
Okay, now that we've gotten all the hard ones out of the way. Next up is bylaw proposal B1. I might remind you that this does take 2/3 to adopt any bylaw proposals. This is presented by Jerry Ledbetter, Sharon Wanamaker, Dee Tormanen, the Board of Directors of the Wyjon County USBC, Board of Directors of Orange County USBC, and is recommended for adoption by the USBC Board. Anybody representing those parties want to come to the microphone?
Chair recognizes the speaker at microphone 4.
Jerry Ledbetter, Southbound USBC. I've got my notes so I don't miss anything. The merger process started over 11 years ago. It is time as an organization to unite as one. This body has a major responsibility today. Personal issues and biases must be left at the door, and it's important to do what is best for our sport. This and the other two bylaw proposals today are today's visions and critical for tomorrow's future. I encourage you to vote yes.
Thank you. Who's going to get there first? Speaker, the chair recognizes the speaker at microphone 2, Mr. Gary Foreman.
Good afternoon. Gary Foreman, President of Orange County USBC. In full disclosure, I'm Secretary Treasurer of the Southern Cal Proprietors Association. I and the Orange County Board support this merger. Last year we lost, I think, by 3 votes. Unfortunately, one of the things that you all are aware of, there's a dues increase proposal on the ballot. And one of the things that the USBC could save on, which is not a huge amount of money, but let me add all of the stuff, mailing things out to 3 associations in the same geographic territory. You have IT has to support an extra set of associations in the same geographic territory. The national is merged, our association is merged, and it's just been a great operation since then. And it's really time for everybody to come together and finally get this merger done once and for all. I urge you to vote in favor of this proposition. Thank you.
Hey, Gary. I'm going to microphone 3 and then 1 and 4. So speaker at microphone 3.
Thank you, Mr. President. Bob Ashley, past president, nation's capital area. First and foremost, I'm here representing our membership who have voiced their opinion on this at our annual meeting 2 months ago. My personal feelings on this are irrelevant. Now, over the past few days, I've had some engaging conversations with board members and fellow delegates on this, and how the merits of the amendment, best serve our sport. Our association is merged, but we did so voluntarily as part of the revised plan of SMO from 2004. Our membership took this into account and basically felt that yes, we're merged, but they told us, they asked us to reject it because it should not be forced. Again, we're a merged association, so I know we're not against merging, but our members have spoken in that regard. Now, I've seen bumper stickers and things around and various opinions, so I'm going to challenge those associations against this to come up like I am to this microphone and say why you're against it. Show us all why. And give us some valid reasons, because as a board member said, if there are valid reasons, I'd like to hear them. I think we'd all like to hear them. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. Chair recognizes the speaker at microphone 1. Please remember to identify yourself by name and local association.
I'm J.C. Onwine for the New York USBC. I urge the people to reject this amendment. It should not be forced upon anyone. The merger will not save a lot of people. The merger did not cause the problems that we're in. Eventually, we will merge because there will be no choice, but it should be on one's own decision. We're a merged association. I don't believe I have the right to oppose my opinions upon those other people. Thank you.
Thank you, J.C. Chair recognizes the speaker at microphone 4.
Tony Maddox, Florida State WBA delegate. I speak to the Florida local associations that are not merged in Florida. They've had 11 years to decide if they wanted to merge or not. We have associations that have merged. Some are too big. Some would like a divorce, but there was no divorce allowed under the USBC. There are some of the smaller associations that work very well together. However, every merged association here, whether it be state or local, has had the choice to merge or not to merge. I urge for a no vote.
Thank you. There's a second speaker at microphone 4.
My name, excuse me, my name is Johnny Cruz, and I'm president of the Sterling Rock Falls USBCBA. Like the speaker before me, we've had 11 years to decide, and on this USB station figure sheet that I've got, it said, it says 73% of the members are merged. Now you take the 27% that are not merged, which equates to 384,623 members that are not merged. That's 27%. Again, 884,623. Are you going to force these people and play with what the consequences would be? Thank you.
Chair recognizes the speaker at microphone 3.
Good afternoon. Chris Sapino, Jasper County USBC WBA Association Manager, State of Iowa. This country was founded by people who didn't want to be forced into something that they did not want to do. When WIBC and ABC voted to make USBC the governing body, it was to combine services at the national level. At that time, we were told that state and local associations would have the choice to merge or not to merge. Over the years, I have heard delegates from merged associations say two things. Don't force associations to merge who are not ready, and if we could unmerge, we would. Several times this week, I have heard that one size does not fit all. Things do not work the same for everyone. All merged associations had the right to choose. They freely chose to merge. If this legislation passes, all unmerged associations will have lost the right to freely choose. Please respect the right to choose. A forced merge is not what we were told would happen. This was not supposed to be a bridge that we were going to be forced to cross over. Please vote no, then let it go. Thank you.
The chair recognizes the speaker at microphone number 2.
Polly Maple, whoa!
Polly
Polly Maple, Smoky Mountain, USBC, Tennessee. I want to reverse that on you all. You're saying forced. Well, there's a group of membership in your non-merged associations that you're forcing to make decisions, and that's the women. If they want to bowl in the open, they have to pay the BA. If they want to bowl in the WBA tournaments, they have to pay the WBA. Or they have to pay both. So you're forcing the women in these non-merged associations to make decisions or to double pay their memberships. And I think that's unfair.
Thank you, Polly. I'm keeping track, so I'm going to go to the speaker at microphone 3 and then the two gentlemen at microphone 1. So speaker number 3, microphone 3.
Sharon Wanamaker. I'm Washington State President and a Director on Clark County USBC. Both the state and my local are merged. I am one of the proposers on this PA. I have a real passion for bowling, and I just feel that when the three organizations merged, they became one. If you're still an unmerged, you're not, I don't feel that you're totally part of us. We need to be one organization. I'm sorry, I have the microphone. We all have our own feelings, and I have a right to express mine. I vote yes on this proposed amendment.
Thank you, and thank you for the reminder. Please be respectful to the speakers at the microphones. Chair recognizes the speaker at microphone 1.
Jonathan Burke from the Mid-Hudson USBC. Most of you probably know me as the Socratic Method Facebook troll in the USBC Association Leaders Group. But I'm up here to speak again, like I did last year, for the youth. We do have the vision for our future, future for the sport. Thank you. This year is our motto, and again, we need to think of the kids. If we want our associations to continue and our membership to survive, we need the youth active. And the best way to get them active is to invite them to join the board when we merge. I mean, we can keep arguing back and forth that, the men don't want to merge with the women don't want to merge with the men. But in reality, we're losing the vision that we have an association that serves all of our members, and we continue to have a future for the sport where we can have continued membership. We can have the kids, continue in our steps and keep our vision going. So I would ask everybody to vote yes on this merger. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Second speaker at microphone 1.
Forrest Cole, Wyoming State Vice President. Being from Wyoming, I understand about not having somebody force things on you. But however, approximately 4 years ago, I introduced legislation to our Wyoming Men's Board to begin the merger process. That following summer, we voted on this. One of our first items of business by our committee when we did this at our jamboree that first year was for us to decide that we could all agree to disagree. But what we were doing was far more important for all of our membership, and that we had to put aside our individual biases. When we had our meeting in that following June, we had right around 100 members, just a little bit over. But you got to remember, Wyoming is a very large rural state. We only have 24 local associations. We measure travel by time, not distance. Over 90% of our local associations had a representation at that meeting. That's a pretty good turnout. Maybe not in numbers, but it did in percentages. Many had to drive at least 2 hours. Most of them had to drive 4+ hours to be there. I'm proud to say when we voted to merge, it was unanimous. Together we can. Since that September when we attended our first jamboree, it's been up and down. Has it all been easy? Nope. I'm not going to say it is. But we continue to learn, we continue to work together, and yes, we all still agree to disagree. So with that thought in mind, I urge everybody here, vote yes. Together,
we can.
Thank you. Chair recognizes speaker at microphone 4.
Hello, this is Kimberly Stanek Sims. I'm from suburban Windy City local, and I'm also a member of the IBC Youth Committee. Bowling is a brand. It is not women's bowling, it is not men's bowling, it is not youth bowling, it is a brand. We want to expand the brand of bowling. Several years ago, there was a USBC Youth Committee, and there was a BPA Youth Committee. We merged. As you've seen from the presentations during this week, how many wonderful progressive changes have been made in youth bowling because we merged our talents and went forward with new programs. I understand the tradition of bowling, but I also look to the combined efforts of all of us that have the passion for the game to move it forward as a merged association. Thank you.
Thank you, Kim. Chair recognizes speaker at microphone 2.
Okay. My name is Lindsay Siegel. This is my first convention. I am here for Lake County, Illinois. I'm also a member of several other associations in the area. I'm not active on the board right now. I'm here as an athlete delegate. And the gentleman over here was talking about our youth, and I'd really like to bring it back to our youth. I'm a high school coach. I coach privately, older children, younger children, and if we're saying that our children are the future of this sport, what kind of message are we showing to them that we cannot come together? We need to show them that we can work together on their behalf. By keeping our associations separate, you're just providing that documentation to those children that we're not in the same game. We're not working together for their future. So I think we all need to stand up, vote yes for this, teach our children to do the right thing. Thank you.
Thank you, Lindsay. Chair recognizes the speaker at microphone number 4.
Victoria Funderburg, Belvedere, Illinois. I have a small association, it's 250, and we do work together. However, there are other larger associations near me who are still non-merged. I would like to know if you see any lack of support for the juniors, and this is what we're talking about, a future of the sport. If you see any lack of support for the junior association working for the juniors. We all work for the juniors, but we also must realize that the men and the women do things differently. We have for years, and that's good and that's bad. My state association is wonderful. The women are great. The men, they don't want to do so much. Sometimes that happens on the local level. But what we're asking is for us to still maintain the option to choose for ourselves whether or not we want to come together in a local association with the adults working together for the adults, not just the juniors, but for the adults. And I support a no. And I ask you to think about that. If you force people who are volunteers, and of the, what did you say, John? 384,000 who are from non-merged association, how many of those people are volunteers? Do you really want to disenfranchise all those people who don't want to merge? That's a heck of a number. What happens if they leave? What happens if they decide, well, I've served 45 years, I really don't need to do this anymore, and they walk away? That would be a terrible, terrible loss. You have a great resource there. I ask you, please don't force people to do something that they once had the option to do on their own. We've served many years. We're here. How many people in this audience are 45 years and older? Dedication shows we care. Please consider.
Thank you. I'm minding the time. I have a clock here. She had 5 seconds left. I've got it. And if you have 2 minutes to speak, at 5 seconds, I will ask you to please wrap it up. Is that fair?
Yep.
Okay. Chair recognizes the speaker at microphone 3.
Thank you, Mr. President. Lowell Lovegren, Washington State USBC delegate, youth director on the state board, also the president of College USBC. We're both merged associations, the state and the local. I was the association manager when the merger process for the state, and I was on the merger process for the local. When I went and seen the finances and the costs of the 3 organizations, what they were putting out, I seen in my true eyes that we could work together as one family. Save the cost, don't charge the bowlers extra costs like bowling tournaments. Women can bowl the open, they have to bowl two charges, bowl the tournament. It's a lot easier to handle the paperwork in one office than 3. I really urge, as having the experience of going through the merger process, the family can work together as one. Vote for yes, please.
Thank you, Lowell. Chair recognizes speaker at microphone number 1.
Hi, Naomi Martin, Oahu Women's June Association. Our state is a merged state. At a local level, only one island is merged. Out of that one merged association, we have a youth league that chooses not to be part of the merged association. They are serviced by the Oahu Association. The question that I have, and it's because I've been asked to pose this question, will the youth still have an option to stand alone as they do now from a merged association if the adults choose to merge?
That decision will be made pending the approval of this legislation, but there is an effective date of 2017-18 on this. If it were to pass, then associations would have to be merged at that point. It could not remain unmerged.
Would the outer islands have an option of merging with a different island?
Beg your pardon?
Because I'm a state that's composed of islands, each island has its own local association. Would one island have the option of merging with a different association or a different island if they choose not to be serviced by their island?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, you determine the jurisdictions, right?
Yes.
Okay. The second speaker at microphone number 1.
I'm Di Tormanen, Association Manager for Metro Phoenix. I am a proposer for this amendment. 2 things. I'm very involved with our youth, And at this point, boys and girls are bowling together. And when we are non-merged, when they become an adult, they must choose whether they're going to be a BA or a WBA, and then jump over to the other association if they want to bowl their events. I think this is a wrong thing. I think we need to keep our family together. Our youth need to grow up together. They need to participate together. The other issue I have is walking around and talking to everyone. You can definitely tell who is merged and who is non-merged. There is a chip on the shoulder of our non-merged associations. It is difficult to merge. It's not easy. We had a tough time, but I tell you what, we've come together. We have made a humongous success in Phoenix, and everything is growing, and we are making strides. And as you can see, USBC has made many strides over these last 10 years. I think we should continue. We should be one family.
Chair recognizes speaker at microphone 3.
I'm Ray Turgeon, Association Manager, Orlando Regional USBC. We've been kicking these amendments around for the last several years, and I call for the question.
Thank you. Thank you. Since there's one person left at the microphone, would you mind would you be okay with withdrawing it, letting one person speak? No. I'm going to ask the gentleman that has to call the question. Yes? Okay. Speaker, okay. Oh, okay. Thank you, Yvette.
I'll second the motion.
Thank you. So we're voting on calling for the question. Okay. All right. Are we open? We're going to open the voting for calling the question. We have a motion on the floor to call the question and the discussion. You are now voting on calling the question, not on the proposal, calling the question. Press 1 for yes, 2 for no. This needs a 2/3 vote to end the discussion and call for the vote. If there's anyone that's not comfortable, their vote hasn't been recorded, raise your hand, let a staff member know. Place your votes. Voting is now closed. By your actions, you are calling for the question, and we will proceed with voting on proposal B1. Yeah. Give us a moment. We're going to reset it so we can vote. I'm not going to sing. Jason, you have some music? Mark, do you sing?
Can't sing, but I can dance. Just don't ask my wife whether I can dance or not.
We're good. Frankie, we're good. All right. Mike's given us the okay. So voting is now open for bylaws proposal B1. Press 1 to approve, 2 to reject. If you feel your vote hasn't been recorded, please raise your hand. Let a staff member know. This would be the one I checked. Okay. Voting is now closed for B1. Okay. By your actions, you have approved bylaws proposal B1.
Okay, now we'll move on to bylaw proposal B2.
Hey, I don't want to pound this. Come on.
Now we'll move on to bylaw proposal B2. B2 was proposed by Jerry. Yes.
I'll read them to you. The vote count was 623 to 287. That's not the number. What were the percentages? I believe it was 68.4%, 31.5%. Thank you. Back to you, Mark.
Okay, next on the agenda, bylaw proposal B2. B2 is proposed by Jerry Ledbetter, Sharon Wanamaker, D. Tormanen, the Board of Directors, Wyjon County USBC, Board of Directors, Orange County USBC. It is recommended for adoption by the USBC Board.
Would any of the proposers like to come to the microphone? Chair recognizes the speaker at microphone 4.
Jerry Ledbetter, Southside USBC. Thank you for B1, and I'll turn the microphone over for discussion. We discussed before.
Thank you. Speaker at microphone 2.
Gary Foreman, President, Orange County, also again Secretary Treasurer, SoCal. For the same reasons, we propose B1, we propose B2, and we urge your vote, positive vote, so that the state associations will be required to merge. Thank you.
Thank you, Gary. Any other discussion? Chair recognizes the speaker at microphone 4.
Again, Tony Maddox, Florida State WBA delegate. In Florida, we have a very, very strong men's BA association, women's association, and youth association. We have one of the best outstanding youth associations in the country. I hate to see us lose the volunteers that we have on these boards. If we merge, we will lose a lot of those volunteers. We will. We will.
Please respect the speaker.
As I said last year, and I just said a few minutes ago, everyone in here, every state in here was allowed the choice to merge. You are forcing us to do something that we do not want to do, and that is to merge. We like the way things are going in the state of Florida. Our youth, as you saw today, we had 2 award winners today from Florida, from the youth side. And when USBC looks to Florida for pilot programs, we always come through for them. I want to continue to have 3 organizations, be strong in each individual group, and I don't see that happening if we merge. Thank you.
Thank you. Speakerphone and microphone 1.
Jonathan Burke, Mid-Hudson USBC. I think we've had enough discussion on this on B1, and I'd like to call for the question on B2.
Second it.
Thank you. There was nobody else at the microphone. It was seconded. So Jonathan has asked to call the question. It's been seconded. I said that. I said, I got it. It's been seconded by the speaker at microphone 2. Otherwise, Robbie was going to do it and say, hey. Voting is now open to call the question. For yes, 2 for no. You are voting on calling for the question. I think that's a never mind, George. Okay. Voting is now closed. By your actions, you are calling for the question to vote on B2. I think that's right, Mark? Give us a moment. We're going to turn it over so we can get it set up to vote on bylaws proposal B2. We're good. Voting is now open for bylaws proposal B2. 1 to approve, 2 to reject. Okay. Mine either. Mine isn't voting. Yep. Hey, Mike.
Wrong slide.
Oh, hang on. Mine's not working either, so. Wait, something's up. So give us one moment. Give us a moment. All right, we're going to redo the vote. So give us a moment. Okay, let's try. We're going to rewind. Try this again. Voting is now open to vote on bylaws proposal B2. 1 to approve, 2 to reject. If you're still getting that orange light, please raise your hand and let a staff person know. You good? Okay, voting is now closed. Okay. By your actions, you have approved bylaws proposal B2. Jason, just leave them up a little bit longer, if you don't mind, please. 72.48%, 27.52%. Your vote totals will follow. Bless you. Okay. Mark?
Okay, now I'll turn the page to page 11. Bylaw proposal B3. B3 was presented by David Paul Lewis, Mount Pleasant, Michigan, recommended for adoption by the USBC board. Dave Lewis.
I began this proposal, and if passed, this is not an immediate $5 increase. However, many of the candidates yesterday cited finances as a top challenge of USBC. My proposal would allow the USBC board, mostly elected by past delegates, the flexibility to make financial decisions for the near future. I urge everybody to vote yes.
I'm sorry, the proposer. Right? That's David? I apologize, David, that he is the proposer. You're good. Thank you. Chair recognizes speaker at microphone 1.
I'm J.C. Online from the New York USBC. I will grant you that this proposal It's not exactly going to go over well with a lot of bowlers, but what choice do we have? If we reject it, you're going to come back next year with higher and higher costs. I urge us to accept this because if we do not, Nationals is going to pass more costs onto the locals, and then you're going to have to raise your dues either way. Thank you.
Thank you, JC. Chair recognizes the speaker at microphone number 2.
Afternoon, everyone. My name's Carl Huther with the Pikes Peak USBC out of Colorado Springs, Colorado. Our association understands we do need a dues increase, that it's not going to stay the same forever, but we had talked about maybe doing $1 a year for the next 5 years. And I'd like to make that as a motion.
He's asking to amend the amendment. Good. I'm going to pass it to you.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor to amend the proposal B3. Is there a second? Please go to the microphone and identify yourself.
Harold Chapman, Niagara Falls, New York, BA. I second that proposal. Amendment.
Do you want to reiterate? Yeah, but you want to reiterate the amendment? We're gonna clarify the amendment and post it so you can see it. Just give us a moment.
Hey, just hang on. I think. Okay. Okay, we've got language based on what the gentleman proposed. We will put that up on the screen now. The secondary amendment to this bylaw proposal would allow national dues to increase the maximum $1 a year for each of the next 5 years. And that, as we all know, for everything else, is effective 8/1 of 2016. So just as a matter of practicality here for everybody, for the 2016-17 season, the maximum dues would be 11. The following season, the maximum dues would be 12. The following season, maximum dues 13. The following year, 14. And then the following year, 15. Maximum. Not automatically mandated, but maximum. So the gentleman that made the proposal, would you please stand up? Is that the way you expected it? Okay, thank you.
Okay. Okay. Great. The speakers at the microphone, this is specifically to the amendment. We're going to limit the discussion, but I'm going to go to microphone number 1.
I was here before the amendment was brought up, so my comment is for the original proposal.
Okay. Then hold your thoughts. You can come back to the microphone when we get to that point. There was a speaker at microphone 3. John?
He's on the original proposal.
Okay. Got it. Speaker at microphone 4.
Point of clarification, this is Nancy Folden from Memphis, Tennessee. Were the delegates not told that if we propose any addendums to this motion, that what the board had approved would be withdrawn?
Did you tell them that? No. We will not withdraw the proposal. It'll stand as it is. You're going to vote on it, but if you approve it, it's going to stand on its own.
Thank you.
Is that right? Yeah.
So,
It's not ours to withdraw.
Yeah.
Process.
Speaker at microphone. There's a second speaker at microphone 4, and then 3. Speaker at microphone 4.
Bill Kluckman, Sioux Falls, the South Dakota State Association. If everybody remembers or listened in the session here, the proposal by the board themselves was the fact that they're not going to raise anything for at least 3 years, and it's going to be $3. And after that, it will be, take a look at it at 20 to 22, and they'd look at it at that point in time. This proposal tells you in 5 years, you're raising it $5 already. So my suggestion is we vote against this proposal that we have or this amendment at this present time.
Thank you. Chair recognizes speaker at microphone 3.
Thank you, Mr. President. Bob Ashley, past president, NCA USBCA. On this secondary amendment to B3, it can be awfully confusing. As a league secretary, it'd be like going back to my league saying, okay, we're going to go up 25 cents every year. They're going to go, what? Why don't we just go up $1 and cover the next 4 years? I think that's what this amendment looks like. And as has been mentioned, there was already a plan on the original B3. So my recommendation is to reject this secondary amendment.
Chair recognizes the speaker at microphone 2.
Gary Foreman, President, Orange County. I urge rejection of this. As a bowling proprietor, I have to sell league dues or USBC dues in my league meetings. And for this thing to be every year, we have to go up, every year, just back and forth, it makes no sense. It's difficult to sell. And at $3 in 2 years, we're looking at 25 cents a month, folks. So it's not a lot of money under the original. So I would recommend rejection of this and going back to the original proposal. Thank you.
Thank Gary. The chair recognizes the speaker at microphone 3.
Frank Barnhart, St. Louis. 2 clarifications. I'm not in favor of this amendment to the amendment, but addressing the last 2 people who spoke at microphone 4, the gentleman who just spoke, this amendment to the amendment would not say the dues have to go up. This amendment to the amendment would increase the maximum allowed by $1 each year. I'm still against it, but what he stated was incorrect. The lady before him, I think you misunderstood her question. I believe her question was about the board's statement of what they would do if the original amendment passed. She was not asking, would this amendment be withdrawn? She was asking, would the board's previous statement, I believe you're going to increase the dues by $3 in 2 years or something like that, and then not again for 5 years after that or something like that. They want to know if that still stands. I believe that's her question.
Right. Yeah, it's not ours to pull. That was response before. It's not ours to pull. It was.
Hey, Frankie, the board action was tied to B3.
Call on Scott.
Yeah, just on that last question as parliamentarian, the board action in that letter that they signed was tied to the original B3, not to this amendment. Okay.
Thank you, Scott. Chair recognizes speaker at microphone 4. 2 speakers at microphone 4.
Yes, my name is Mark Krasinski, USBC Treasure Coast in Florida. I would like to ask the gentleman if he would change his proposal to what the board had promised that they would do, raise it 3 years, or $3 in 2 years, and then if needed after that, no sooner than 2022. In other words, that would be the...
That's out of order, sir. There's a second speaker at microphone 4, please.
Joseph Ross, Pennsylvania State Bowling Association. I call for the question.
I second that.
Rick Mitchell, York Adams, USBC, second it.
Thank you. Okay. Voting is now open to call the question on the secondary amendment. You are voting on calling the question. Press 1 for yes, 2 for no.
You good? Frank, you put it down there.
I see a couple hands up. David? Okay. We'll close the vote. Yeah. By your actions, you are calling for the question. Okay, give us a moment. We'll change it over. Your next vote will be on the secondary amendment.
Majority.
Which will need majority to pass.
Majority.
Secondary amendment is what you're going to be voting on now. You're going to put it back up on the screen. Okay. Can we get the motion on the screen? Can we get the actual amendment on the screen? Just for clarity, that's all. I'm asking for the amendment to be put on the screen before you vote. So we're all clear. Okay. Yep.
Yep.
Okay. You are voting on the secondary amendment. You're voting to amend it. I apologize. I stand corrected. You got it. Voting to amend. Okay. Let me know when we're ready to open the votes. I'm sorry I complicated it, just so you could see it. Okay. Correct. We're voting whether or not to amend B3, passed by majority vote. Press 1 to approve, 2 to reject.
This is a motion to amend.
Motion
The
to
motion
amend.
to amend. Does everybody understand what we're voting on right now? We're voting not on the main motion, but on the secondary motion to amend the main motion. Okay.
Got it? Okay. Anybody having issues voting? Okay. David, are we okay? Okay. Voting is now closed. By your actions, you have rejected the motion to amend B3. Okay.
Back to the main.
So we're going to go back to the main proposal, B3.
Frank.
Yep. The proposer has already spoken. He's going there. We're getting there. We're getting there. Oh, they want the totals. Did you write them down? We had 7.5% in favor, 92.35% against, 833 to 69. That's the vote totals on the motion to amend B3, which was defeated. Okay. The chair recognizes the speaker at microphone 1.
Teresa Miller, Director, Greater Central Connecticut. In yesterday's workshop, Chad indicated that none of the membership fees will go towards supporting PWBA. I love PWBA, it's great, but the membership dues, he said, did not go towards it. However, at the bottom of page 11, under the proposal, it specifically says, approval also continues support of our investment in youth programs and competitive bowling, such as the PWBA Tour, the Masters, and the Queens. So, which is it? Thank you.
They're examples of what we support. The chair is going to call on Chad to respond.
Just kidding. Yeah, none of the dollars go to the PWBA. The statement that was put in the rationale was just a macro of everything we do at USBC. And I think we've been clear about this, the letters that were sent out this year, the Facebook Q&As that we did, and then my seminar yesterday. Membership dues go to membership services, tournament dues and sponsorship, tournaments, operational revenue, and sponsorships go to tournaments. There's not one nickel of membership dollars that are going to the PWBA.
The chair recognizes the speaker at microphone 3.
Yeah, John Seminole with the Greater Cleveland Bowling Association. I think the Chad's letter to all of us was eloquently written and intellectually written and bringing out the facts that we need the money. And listen, guys, 10 years is the last time we had anything. I don't think we're going to get much squawk out of the ball for $3. I say vote for it. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Chair recognizes the speaker at microphone 3.
Tony Frisbee, Kalamazoo area, WBA, Michigan, and I call the question.
Okay. Can we have a second?
Yeah.
Come to the microphone and identify yourself, please, for a second.
Connie Rummel, Greater Cedar Valley, Iowa. I second that motion.
Thank you. Call for the question. That was quick. Okay. Voting is now open. We're voting on calling the question. Press 1 for yes, 2 for no. Dave, your group's keeping you quite busy today. Anybody else? Voting is now closed on calling the question. By your actions, you are calling for the question. Just give us a moment. We'll turn it over. Yes. We're now going to be voting on the original proposed bylaws proposal B3. Give me a moment. Okay. Voting is now open. Bylaws proposal number B3. 1 to approve, 2 to reject. If you're having an issue voting, please raise your hand. Let a staff person know. That was a false alarm, George? Okay. Voting is now closed. By your actions, you have approved bylaws proposal number B3. 75.33% to 24.67%. Which works out to be 675 to 221. Okay.
Okay, now turn to page 13.
Okay. Mark?
Turn to page 13, bylaw proposal B4. B4, the proposer is Laura Heller, Rockford, Illinois, recommended for rejection by the USBC board. Laura, if you're here, please go to the microphone.
Chair recognizes the speaker at microphone 4.
Okay, just to repeat myself, I am Laura Heller, Rockford, Illinois, local delegate. I'd like to preface my remarks with that I am not a member of an affiliate. If I were a member of an affiliate, I could propose this change to the bylaws, but I would not be allowed to vote on it because affiliates have no say in here. We have speak, but they have no voice. They have no vote. They have voice, but no vote. I drafted this in order to, they would have a voice and a vote, but it would be through the local state association. I'm not suggesting that every affiliate be allowed a vote at this meeting. I'm just suggesting that each state be allowed one additional delegate that would vote, if they have affiliates in that state, that they would vote what the affiliates would recommend. Thank you.
Any other discussion on B4? Hearing none, we'll open the polls. Voting is now open. Bylaws proposal B4, 1 to approve, 2 to reject. Voting is now closed. By your actions, you have rejected Bylaw's Proposal B4, 82.88% to 17.12%.
Okay, I'd like to thank all of you for your participation in this portion of the program. Thank you for your passion for the sport and your passion for the future of the sport. And I'd like to turn this back over to Frank Wilkinson.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you very much. Your actions today will certainly help build a future for our sport. Together, thank you. At this time, I'd like to ask the delegation if there's any old business to bring to the floor. Please remember we have a town hall session after the meeting is over for open questions, but if there's any old business, is it a microphone? No. Okay. Hearing no further old business, we move on to new business. Is there any new business? All right. Hearing no other further new business, we'll now move on to the nominating committee report. I'd like to invite committee chair Marcy Williams to the podium, and I'm going to pass the gavel to Vice President Kathy DeSocio to oversee this part of the meeting.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the election portion of the annual meeting. My name is Marcy Williams, and I truly had the honor to chair the nominating committee this year. And it really was, they laugh when I say that, but it really was an honor. I would like to take a moment to introduce and thank the members of the nominating committee. I would like them to please stand as I say their name. Kathy DeSocio, which she is standing. Karen Jost. Carl Keelick, Kelly Kulik, Melissa McDaniel, and Rhino Page. We also obviously had incredible help from Chad Murphy and Judy Santarius. You may be seated. Thank you. I want to share with you some of the details about the process for choosing the slate this year and the reasons why the committee moved forward the 3 recommended candidates that we did. The nominating committee first reviews written applications. After taking into consideration the business skills and the backgrounds needed by the board, we moved 6 applicants forward to the face-to-face interviews. The committee then interviewed 6 applicants, and we decided to slate only 3. We recognize that some of you have some serious concerns about only slating 3 candidates for 3 positions because it appears the committee is making the choice of the delegates. Believe me when I say we typically want very much for you to have a choice from a variety of slated candidates, but we had extremely unusual circumstances this year that I will try to explain to you. We have 3 open spots with 4 sitting board members up for re-election. That in itself is very unusual, and it's a result of the mandate approved by you to downsize our board. Shrinking the board is a good thing, but this year the timing was very problematic. The president of our board and the chair of our Legal and Legislative Committee are both up for re-election. Each of these individuals have been mentored and trained to assume these very vital roles. I know you can easily understand that we would choose to slate them. Additionally, in evaluating our board's needs, it became very apparent that we need someone with an extremely strong financial background because the chair of our finance committee is terming out next year. Our board has a responsibility to guide the use of millions of dollars to support our beloved sport. As you know from reading the financial report, it can be extremely complex. Our current finance chair, Tom Bluth, is an attorney and a CPA. It is going to be very difficult to fill his shoes, and we need a very qualified candidate, and we found that in Jeff Essery. He has extremely strong business and financial background, thus we slated him to fill this crucial gap. These are extremely unusual circumstances, and we explained these to the applicants that we chose not to slate. We hope that they would understand, and we ask them to please reapply next year when things will be much more normal. Trust me, our job would have been much easier, and we would have been much more popular had we slated everyone, but then we would not have been doing our job very well. You need to know the risk in having a finance chair who is about to term out, and the need to retain our president and chair of legal and legislative in the roles they have been trained to do and are performing very well. With that being said, USBC bylaws do allow candidates to run from the floor. Both Mr. Colangelo and Ms. Davis went through the process, but were not slated simply for the aforementioned reasons. Yesterday, all the candidates were afforded the opportunity to participate in the Meet the Candidates workshop. Without further ado, the nominating committee presents the following 3 slated candidates for election onto the USBC Board of Directors in alphabetical order. Mark Martin, Waterford, Michigan. Jeff Ussery, Tonganoxie, Tonganoxie, Kansas. Frank Wilkinson, Staten Island, New York. And running from the floor, Anthony Colangelo, Twin Falls, Idaho. Yvette Davis, Charlotte, North Carolina. Okay. It is now time for you to vote for the open positions on the Board of Directors. The electronic voting system will be used by utilizing the keypads that you have. Oh, Frank wants his voting device. Okay. I don't know. You'll be voting on 3 open positions, with all 5 candidates being eligible to win a spot. The top 3 candidates receiving a majority of the votes, it's majority, it's not 2/3, will serve 3 one-year terms beginning August 1. 3, did I say it wrong? I apologize. 3 one-year terms. Okay. 1 3-year term. Okay, I am nervous. I do apologize. Serve. Who wrote this? Okay. If the first round of ballots fails to result in 3 candidates receiving a majority vote, the candidate with the lowest votes will be eliminated. Balloting will continue until 3 have reached a majority. Are you ready? Nobody's confused but me? Okay. Oh, no, I can't. Thank you. On your keypads are numbers 1 through 9. We obviously will only be using 1 through 5, with the candidates and their numbers to be displayed on the screens. When the voting begins, you will be asked to press the button matching the name of the top candidate you want to elect. After a pause to allow the machines to tabulate those choices, you'll be asked to press the button matching the name of your next top candidate. Okay? After another pause, you will ask to press the button for your third choice. Again, candidates need a majority vote to be elected. Voting rounds will continue until 3 individuals have been elected. If you have an issue with your keypad, raise your hand. A staff member will help you. After you voted for your third and final candidate, we will see all the results on the screen. My assistant, Mrs. Kathy DeSocio, will announce the winners and the votes. Okay, please get out your keypads and get ready to vote for the candidates of your choice. Oh, I get my keypad. I couldn't understand what they were saying to me. There we go. Okay.
Can you put the numbers back up?
Oh, I'm sure they will. There we go. Okay. All right. I'm going to read it because I'm supposed to read it because I'm supposed to. Please get out your keypads and get ready to vote for the candidates of your choice. Remember, when I tell you to vote for your first choice, press the button corresponding to that candidate. Then wait till I ask you for your second choice and third choice, as I previously explained. Okay. Please choose your first candidate. Not working? Now it is? Did it work for everybody? All right. Are we ready for the second one? Okay. I'm out of sync. Okay. Has everybody voted for one candidate? Okay. Now we're going to vote for your second choice. Sorry? Oh, we have a keypad issue.
Dave, what's number? Dave, what's number? Okay. She's good.
Are we ready now? We're going to vote for your second candidate. You already did? Oh, I didn't. They had a keypad issue, did they not?
Marcy,
Huh.
let's just start over. There's just too much confusion. Nobody noticed that Robin what was doing, so let's just start back from the beginning and reset. Let's just start back from the front, wipe it all out.
May I have your attention, please? We are going to start completely over. Oh, good. Popular decision. Okay.
Okay, Marcy, now hold on a second. Just wait till it's over.
Nationwide is on your side. Okay. Not my idea. Thanks, Kelly. I believe we are ready to go. Will you please vote for your first candidate? I'm waiting for the go-ahead. Nobody, just vote for first, okay? Vote for two?
We got issues.
Now, please vote for your second. Oh. Now? Not yet. We're having for those in front, we're having keypad issues, individual keypad issues.
It's because people are cheating to vote for you.
Yes. I believe we are ready to vote for your second candidate. Okay. Now. Okay, we are ready for you to vote for your third candidate.
Yes, we did. If you didn't,
What?
you missed it.
Now.
Marcy, hold them up.
Whoop, hold off.
We're
Gary
good.
says we're good.
They're good.
Gary says we're good.
Good. Are we good?
We are now officially ready to vote for your third candidate. Okay? Now. Hand in the back. I'm sorry, we're having a couple of keypad problems again. That's what the issue is. It's I'm sorry, could I please ask for a little bit of quiet while it'll help them get our problems resolved. And we can see what the problems are. No, we only vote for 3 and then we show the results. Hello? Apparently, I have not worded this very well, and I apologize for that. Sorry. So we're going to do this all over again. I do apologize. Okay, if I may have your attention. How we're going to do this, and make it much more clear, because I apparently have confused some of you. Right now, voting for your first candidate is now open. Oh, it's not? No. Apparently we're not ready. Oh, that's bad hair day. Okay. I'm calling for the order. We are now open for voting on your first candidate. Put the numbers back up. They're up. Voting is now open for your first candidate. Okay. Please raise your hand if you have an issue. Or please stand up if you have an issue. Voting is now closed. I see no issue, so voting is now closed for your first candidate. We are, yes. Now, voting is now open for your voting for candidate number 2. Voting is open for candidate number 2. Or not for, I'm sorry, I didn't say it very well. For your second choice. Sorry. Please stand if you have any issues. We have an issue over here. You know I'm about to try, aren't you? No. I'm glad you're standing right here. Are there any other issues? Oh, still have an issue? Are there any other issues? I see none. Voting is closed for your second vote. We are now opening the voting for your third candidate. Third choice.
You're going to be really elected this time.
Are there any issues? Please stand. Are there any issues? Seeing none, voting is now closed. Whoops. Voting is now closed.
Third time's the charm.
Yeah.
430 votes is what is needed to win the majority. 430 votes out of what was cast are what is needed to win the majority. On your first ballot, we have 3 candidates who have received the majority of the votes. They are, in order, Frank Wilkinson, 701 votes, Mark Martin, 629 votes, Jeff Ushery, 536 votes. Tony Colangelo received 355 votes. Yvette Davis received 259 votes. We will have no need for a second ballot. Congratulations to those who have won.
Sincere congratulations to the elected candidates. On behalf of myself and the entire nominating committee, I sincerely thank you for supporting our choice. Thank you for all your patience.
Yeah, that's it. What time is it? We can. Yes. Want to do it right away? Thank you, Marcy. Thank you to everyone. In the spirit of fun, I think we should do some more voting. The polls are now open. Oh, come on. Thank you, Marcy. Thank you, nominating committee, for all your hard work. Thank you all for your patience. Thank you for a great convention. Thank you for a great annual meeting. This officially concludes this year's annual meeting. Many thanks to their staff. I'd like to give the staff a very big round of applause for their hard work in the making of this convention. While we're going to officially adjourn the annual meeting, we're not going to wait till 4:30 to open the town hall. Thank you, Lowell. The chair recognizes the speaker at microphone 4.
Mr. President, just give an update on the BVL money we raised. Frank, I know his last name, from the president of the Bowling Proprietors Association, agreed to match 10% of the total raised. The total raised from all you delegates and board members was $3,551.30. Thank you. Great job.
If you missed the donation bags, on the way out, make sure you see Lowell and his team that's collecting. Thank you all. This adjourns the annual meeting. It is, what time? 3:20 p.m. We're going to give you 10 minutes, and we're going to start with the town hall open questions at 3:30 p.m. in this same room. Hey, she wanted me to slam the gavel. Mark Martin and Jeff Ussery, please come to the front. Mark Martin, Jeff Ussery, please come to the front.
Jeff Usser.
Hey, anybody that's still got a voting device, if you'll put them up like this, our folks will come get them. We're trying to collect all the voting devices. If anybody still has one, please raise your hand. Our staff will come get them. Thank you.
Waking up to ash and dust, I wipe my brow and I sweat my rust. I'm breathing in the chemicals. I'm breaking in, shaping up, then checking out on the prison bus. This is in the apocalypse. Whoa, I'm waking up. I feel it in my bones, enough to make my system flow. Welcome to the new age, to the new age. Welcome to the new age, to the new age.
Looks like we're straggling around a little bit. We'll start the town hall in 3 minutes. We'll start the town hall in 3 minutes. Thank you.
We're painted red to fit right in. Whoa. I'm breaking in, shaping up, then checking out on the prison bus. This is in the apocalypse. Whoa, I'm waking up. I feel it in my bones, enough to make my system flow. Welcome to the new age, to the new age. Welcome to the new age, to the new age. I'm radioactive, radioactive. I'm radioactive, radioactive. All systems go. Sun hasn't died. Deep in my bones, straight from inside. I'm waking up. I feel it in my bones, enough to make my system flow. Welcome to the new age, to the new age. Welcome to the new age, to the new age. I'm radioactive, radioactive. time. One more time. One more time. We're gonna celebrate. Oh yeah, alright. Don't stop the dancing. One more time. We're gonna celebrate. Oh yeah, alright. Don't stop the dancing. One more time. We're gonna celebrate. Oh yeah, alright. Don't stop the dancing. One more time. We're gonna celebrate. Oh yeah. One more time. One more time, we're gonna celebrate. Oh yeah, alright. Don't stop the dancing. One more time, we're gonna celebrate. Oh yeah, don't stop the dancing. One more time. You know I'm just feeling celebration tonight. Celebrate. Don't wait too late. No, we don't stop. You can't stop. We're gonna celebrate. One more time. One more time. One more time. A celebration. Know we're gonna do it right tonight. Hey, just feeling. Music's got me feeling the need. Yeah. Come on. Alright, we're gonna celebrate one more time. Celebrate and dance so free. Music's got me feeling so free. Celebrate and dance so free. One more time. Music's got me feeling so free. We're gonna celebrate. Celebrate and dance so free. One more time. Music's got me feeling so free. We're gonna celebrate. Celebrate and dance so free. One more time. Music's got me feeling.
All right. If everybody will take their seats, we'll get going. If everybody will take their seats, we'll get going. Also, we're still missing some voting devices. Still missing some voting devices. Please raise your hand. Somebody in a red shirt will come get you. There's one in the back. Roger, right over there in the back. He's walking this way now. Bill Spigner. Oh, he's giving it to George right there. Anybody else with a voting device? Okay, let's quickly go over the rules for the town hall. Let's quickly go over the rules for the town hall. They're very simple. They're very simple. Shh. You will orderly make your way to the podium, to the microphones, and we'll call you in the order that you hit the microphones, and we will efficiently and effectively answer your question to the best of our ability. And if we don't necessarily like the way it's going, I will join you on the stairs until we are happy. Okay, if there's no other questions. Oh, I'm sorry. Chrissy?
Hello? I got to lower this for me. Chrissy Lee, President, Monmouth County, USBC, Monmouth County, New Jersey. Every year I thank you guys for doing such a wonderful job. I thank you once again. I had a great time. I call it the Cheers effect, where everybody knows your name. It's a wonderful thing to come here. But my question, I am a member of the UBA. I don't know if you are all familiar with the UBA, the Underground Bowling Association. I bowl on a team. There are, as of today, 166 teams in the Underground Bowling Association. They can have up to 30, 40 bowlers per team. That's 5,000 USBC members that are spoken for in the UBA. My question is, we have representation from all locals and the TNBA. Would you consider in the future inviting somebody from the UBA to come and attend the convention?
Yeah, I think the easy answer is that we would, certainly be open to a conversation. We'd want to, meet with the representatives and understand, their mission and strategy and goals moving forward and make sure they align with ours. But I'm familiar with UBA, and we love it that they're getting a lot of folks to go bowling, and we think that's incredible. So yeah, we're open to the conversation.
It definitely is a different atmosphere.
Yeah.
I equate it to college or high school bowling, which I never had that opportunity. And if you ever have a chance to see a UBA match, it does get quite
intense.
Thanks, Jeff.
Yes, ma'am. Thanks, Chrissy. Robbie?
Yesterday there was a session concerning lane topography and the lane conditions affecting how the shot lays out. Several years ago, USBC took away any type of penalization towards the center owner as to what, not conforming, not having a compliant condition, and not necessarily making the changes that they needed to make. Without your support and without some type of penalization to the owners and managers, we'll never be able to get that fixed.
Yep. I appreciate it. I appreciate the comment, and I appreciate the support. I think everybody will remember, I believe it was called Professional Lane Inspectors, and we essentially suspended the program. We weren't really as ready as I think we thought we were at the time. And the certs and specs area, what I covered in my ED report this morning, those 1,000 lane beds in 20 states that we went into were research towards a new lane inspection program, one that will be similar to the way it's been for years. But it's inside our certifications and specifications staff right now in conjunctions with that committee. And I look forward to announcing the future of that sometime soon. But I appreciate it, Robbie, because I don't think a lot of folks are really thinking about it, and it's an important piece of the puzzle. So thanks for bringing it up. Mr. Ashley?
Okay, I think there are a few people ahead of me, but all right, first off, thank you again for a great convention, a lot of things going on, and I know I've spoken with a few of you on various things. But the question I have actually comes from somewhere else. We talk about how to get more attendance at convention, and we had an increase this year from last year, but the numbers are still down from years past. And the question that comes out from a USBC member in the Midwest, and this is a quote, USBC wants us to be more involved in the process to get more people involved. How is this possible when there are so many associations that would like to be involved in the process but can't afford to go? Unquote.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's easy. Obviously, there's a commitment to the national organization that has to be made there. I mean, financially, I get it, right? It's tough. Everybody's got to make the financial commitment to drive, get on a plane, the hotels that come with that. But obviously, we've invested money here at convention, and we've put it back inside the championships events. And so we've made some significant changes to make it easier to come to convention. But I think in addition to convention being the beacon that it is, longer term, we've got to get training and education out into the field more regularly. And so we've got to be able to touch associations in a way that's on their terms, closer to them, the ones that can't afford it. And then over time, maybe then they make their way to convention. I don't think that there's one answer to that. You know, we went to Omaha last year trying to get back into the Midwest thinking that everybody could drive, but a lot of folks, you know, still didn't show up. This year, Vegas, you know, maybe it was Vegas. I don't think that was completely what it was. But we're just going to keep moving forward and try and put some solid things in place, make it more attractive. It's not unlike a membership product. There has to be value to attend. And if we continue to improve the training and education, the networking that takes place, we think more folks will want to do that.
Okay, thank you. And I think Mr. President and I have one other piece of unfinished business. Yes, Frank?
Oh, boy. It's not that bad. I have to apologize to Mr. Ashley. We made a bet. The Kansas City Royals won the World Series. The bet was that we had to wear a shirt here at the convention. I wanted to see him wear a New York Mets shirt. Nobody really cares to see me in a Royal shirt. However, Chad offered me one, but it was a bit too big. So I apologize, but you may see it another time.
Sounds good. And just, I have a family member that pitches for the Royals. That's why I made the bet.
Go Cardinals. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'm Joy Kellenberger from the Southeastern Ohio USBC. Back in the day when WIBC and the merger was first proposed, we were told that we would have 2 delegates, same as we would have had we been a non-merged association. And now with the structure, the way it's set up, we are down to 1 delegate and an alternate because our membership has dropped. We have lost 4 bowling centers in the last 5 years. I am the association manager, as I said. I love coming to convention. You guys are doing a great job. It's getting better every year.
Thank you.
I would like, however, for you to consider the fact that me traveling by myself, I really don't enjoy traveling by myself. Traveling with a friend is much more fun. And if also you're talking about attendance, maybe if we were allowed to have 2 delegates, we'd have more people here. So.
Yeah, it's certainly something to consider. Jason and I have talked about it. We've had conversations at the board level about it. It's something that needs to be addressed over time. It's also something that came up in the town halls as I traveled throughout the country this year. And, you know, there's lots of ways to do that. You know, an automatic 2, reduce the number of members that are needed per delegate. So we are thinking and talking about it, and I appreciate you bringing it up, and we'll continue to look at it.
Thank you very much. And once again, I love how you guys are progressing.
Yeah,
it's coming along very nicely.
Appreciate it.
Kay Smith, Texas State USBC. I think the watch list on averages is an awesome idea, but my question is, since they can hide their name and average on bowl.com, are they going to be able to hide it on the watch list also?
Whoa, you tied something together there from I saw what you did right there. I saw what you did right there. Yeah, that one's tough. And again, it's not fully formulated at this point, but I will tell you that will be one of the considerations. I don't know how we will write those rules at this point, but the intent is certainly to shine a light on those folks who are actively cheating. And so I don't want to say that they wouldn't have the same rights as another member, but we'll work through it as we move forward.
Thank you, and you are doing a great job.
Thank you, ma'am. One for Jason Overstreet, please.
My name is Art Machado. I'm from Hawaii.
I'll take the Hawaii question. That sounds awesome. Let's talk about it at your place.
I'm also a past ABC director, proprietor. The biggest problem we're having is, you know, we're talking about dues increase. Our biggest problem is with awards. Somebody 20 years ago shot a 300, age maybe 30 years old, he's 50 or older. They cannot get another award. I think it's not fair to the bowlers when we're asking for an increase in dues and we're not giving them anything on the awards. I would like to hear some comments on that.
Sure,
Yeah.
it's certainly something that we hear quite a bit, and that's, you know, recognition and what the best way to deal with recognition is, and you know, helping great associations that help put together local programs. Sometimes it's not a ring that's meaningful for folks in terms of, additional recognition for achievements down the line. It's other things, whether that be some kind of a special celebration within the association, within the center itself. We understand that it's a tough conversation, and Chad, I know that that's a question that's come up a lot in some of our town hall meetings. You might have some good insight in terms of some things that are going on at other places around the country when this comes up.
Yeah, I think membership value means a lot of different things, and historically it's meant awards, and that's what everybody could gravitate to, the tangible benefits of it. So it's going to be a long time before we get away from having those conversations. I would encourage you as a local association to take a look at your awards program and see if that makes sense to you, because that's where it lands today. The national level, we're doing a lot of things. Membership value will certainly be defined differently over the next 20 years than it was for the last 100. In Jason's speech earlier today, he talked about Benefit Hub and some of those other things that go with that. So while I can appreciate where we've been, those types of awards are not where we're going nationally. We will support the local and the states, and the expectation is that the local and states will support the awards program.
I have a total of 3,500 members. What we're planning to do is we're having our general membership meeting in June, and we plan as our association to give a 300 or 800 and bring back the 11 in a row starting this year, so we can keep our members.
That's great.
And I think it's so important with recognition, and you're talking about award. Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate that.
Thank you.
And to be clear, there isn't anybody here that doesn't believe in recognition. We certainly do. It's just not defined as an award that we've been given for years. Yes, sir.
Chad, I address this to you and the nominating committee. I'd like to thank you for the detailed explanation that you gave us concerning the nominating committee's difficult choices this year and their reasons for choosing the slated candidates. However, during your opening remarks, you mentioned that you wanted us to be fully informed before voting, and then you would trust our choices when voting. In the past, we've received inserts in the program that included all of the candidates' biographies. That was missing this year from the programs. And I request that in the future you provide us with this information so that we can read what each of the candidates' biographies are, both slated and non-slated.
I appreciated that comment. And question earlier today, and I'll answer it the same way. We'll look into it for the future.
Hi, Chad. Robert Jensen from Brazos Valley, USBC in Texas. I'm going to piggyback on that last comment. I've been coming to the convention for 11 years now, ever since the merge, and kudos to you. Every year it gets better. I also want to talk about the nominating process. 1 or 2 years when I first started coming, I questioned why current members were not reslated. And the comment that I received was they didn't fit the needs that y'all saw for the board. I accepted that. So kudos to the nominating committee for doing the detailed discussion yesterday and today about what you perceive as the needs are of the board. I would like to encourage the board to continue doing that every year, because we don't know what you perceive your needs are, so it's difficult for us to make those right choices for ourselves that will benefit you the best. I would like to ask maybe perhaps one more thing, to also give maybe a page of all the current board members and what their current contributions to the board are at that given time, so we can take a look at what you're saying and make an informed decision on what your needs are as opposed to what we see. And hopefully we're going to come to the same conclusion as y'all have come to, but at least we have the information to make an informed decision.
Yeah, I don't know. Today I couldn't say, man, that's a great idea, but it sounds smart. I mean, it makes sense, because when we say that these are, the deficiencies, if you will, and this is why we need you to vote for these folks to move us forward. Yeah, a little more information about current board members, their strengths, and the things that they're affiliated to might make some sense. So give us some time to think about that one.
Okay, one more thought on that. But where I'm coming from on that is, even in my job, my duties have changed over time, or new duties have come on. Maybe I had a skill set that I didn't even know I had, Same thing with the board members. Maybe they've achieved different skills and are excellent in those skills that they didn't come on the board with in the very first place as a result of getting involved with the board.
Yeah, we'll certainly consider it. I think there's something there. I appreciate the comments. JC?
My question is, can you not try to put the convention a little bit earlier? So therefore then, if you make decisions on dues and stuff, that we don't have to wait till the summer to speak to the leagues, and then we can still speak to the leagues in time, so that we don't have much confusion. Because if you start earlier, most of the states have already had their annual conventions. I mean, I'm not asking you to do it right away, but consider it in the future.
Yeah, no, hey, I think that one's easy for me because I don't think that there's one way to do things, right? And I drive Mr. Larson and Mr. Overstreet nuts sometimes. I mean, I asked Mike, you know what, why wasn't the convention in October? You know, I mean, those are the types of questions that you ask. But we surveyed pretty heavily after the convention 2 years ago, and there's a lot of consensus for where this convention is at. And so we will be surveying again. And, you know, as delegates, if you want change there, really spend some time on those questions. But the consensus is today that this is the time of year that everybody wants it.
I'm not saying now, I'm saying for the future, because you don't want to have a situation where legislation comes out and you can't get to the members until 3 months later.
No,
That's
hey,
all I'm asking.
Again, I don't disagree with you, but, you know, we want to serve the wants and needs of this delegation. And so to, you know, arbitrarily, you know, just make a change without knowing that they're going to support it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. That's the data that I always talk about that we need when making decisions. So we're going to keep collecting some data, and the data says to move it, we'll move it. Thanks, man.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Mark Hertgem, Metro Detroit, USBC. This is my 8th USBC convention, my first time at the town hall microphone. I have a compliment. I also have a concern. My compliment is about Taylor Weibers, Miss Iowa. I had a chance to meet her at the reception Wednesday night. She was a delightful young lady. She sang the national anthem beautifully, and I'd like to thank you for having invited her.
Awesome.
Appreciate my concern.
You can really Mr. Lambert and Larson around here somewhere, but we'll pass that along for you.
Okay. My concern is about the convention facility. I have asthma and chronic sinusitis. I have trouble dealing with secondhand smoke, and this has been a very difficult week for me. I had ordered the lunch tickets ahead of time in the mistaken assumption that lunch would be served in the convention area and I wouldn't have to go downstairs to deal with the smoke. That turned out not to be the case. Wednesday, I had to wait 35 minutes in line just to get into the buffet. The line was in the very smoky casino, and it literally made me sick.
Yeah.
And, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, did you have a question?
Well, I expressed my concern to the Orleans management. They told me that casinos are smoky and always have been, and if I didn't like it, I didn't need to be here.
Yeah. Well, again, I think that's one of those things that, you know, the data needs to support. You know, I apologize that happened to you. I certainly have sympathy for it. The efficiency of the hotel that we're in. This delegation was pretty definitive, if not a directive, that they wanted this convention back within the championships. And so to do that, we're in Las Vegas for the championships this year on the women's side. And so that albeit requires us to be in a casino. Next year we'll be here again with the Open Championships. And so, you know, those are those things where, you know, intended consequences, unintended developments that come with it. I understand what you're saying, but at the same time, if we want to be in this space, those are the things where we have to give. Yep. It's not a this way or that way world in these cases. When we get back, you know, go in the other direction, you know, we'll be looking at facilities, and they won't be in a casino. Mm-hmm. But to be in the championships, it almost requires that we're in a casino.
Can these issues be addressed with Orleans management before next year's convention?
What's that?
Can these issues be addressed with Orleans management before next year's convention
Well,
to
sure. I
hopefully
mean, they're not
provide
gonna,
some better options?
Yeah, they're not going to change their smoking policy, but
I don't expect that they will,
yeah.
but maybe some better options, some better dining options might be available.
We'll take a look at
As
it.
I said, the buffet was an issue. I didn't go back to the buffet for the rest of the week for obvious reasons. Today I went to the food court, and even that was an issue. The undersized smoke-free dining area there was filled to capacity. There were a number of people who were taking their meals into the smoky slot area to eat, which was not a viable option for me.
We'll look for ways to improve. Thank you. Ms. Davis?
I just wanted to take an opportunity to thank the USBC board for allowing me to come from the floor. I know that you have your policies and rules from the nominating, but I just wanted to tell you I appreciate the opportunity to run. I want to say congratulations to the candidates that won, and those that did not make it, we'll be back next year. I'm not giving up. It is my goal to present to the delegation better next year, that I have some of the qualities and qualifications that some of the sitting incumbents have. And when their time expires, you need to make sure that we have someone that can fulfill those positions at that time. Don't wait until it's over and then try to train someone brand new. But I will make a better presentation hopefully next year. And then I've had a couple people ask me to ask you about the South Point as far as the bowling. It was an extremely, I'll explain this. I have two ladies that are in their 80s that bowl with me. To go that far, rolling bowling balls through the casino and going up and up and up is extreme on them. They feel like they've already bowled a game by the time they get to the lanes. Is there a way, if we come back to South Point, that there's another entrance that we could use? Could that just be looked into?
Yeah, we've had conversations already. I would, the amazing part of this is if, we were in a convention center or even the stadium in Reno, we've measured it. The walk at South Point is really shorter, from the hotel rooms than it is from the street in Reno. I know that's hard to believe, but it really is. But I know that some of our board members share your concern, so I'm sure we'll be looking at it in the future.
Okay, thank you for that. And delegates, for those of you who voted for me, thank you so very much. You are awesome.
And when I said that our board members have shared your concern, what I meant was that we had already heard about it.
All right, thank you for this opportunity. My name's Tom Sortman with the Greater Dayton Bowling Association. I noticed we had quite a bit of an increase in our attendance of this super delegates. Way to support it. My question was, do you happen to have a count on how many associations were represented?
Boy, I don't know the answer to that. I'm hoping.
Or at least can we have it published online?
We can get it
or
for
maybe
you.
On,
I don't see any red shirts in the back standing up to give me that number. So I appreciate the question. We'll look into it. Grab one of my cards. We'll get you the number moving out. The amazing thing about the growth, and it was tremendous. I appreciate you, coming to the microphone and saying that. And I mentioned it in my speech earlier. The culture of USBC is shifting at all levels. What we're doing at the national office and the conversations that we're having, it's just really special. 4 years ago, I sat in a room and it was like, well, we're just never going to be able to grow convention again, and they don't want to come, and it doesn't make sense. And you walk out of the room and you go, well, if we do it like that, they won't. But we made a lot of improvements with convention, and I'm proud of the amount of people that we had this year in total. Association delegates, yes, but also on the athlete side. And it's just tremendous to think about. Mike Donahue came up yesterday. It was like 3 o'clock, and we were hoping for about 10:50, and we had 11:21, thinking, oh my gosh, we might even get to 1,200 here, while we were sitting in a room with 1,051 chairs. And not that we couldn't put more chairs in, we certainly did, but we kind of positioned it for, between 8 and 12%. It was even more than that. So, but we'll get those numbers for you.
Thank you.
Yep.
Sharon.
Sharon Billman from Kansas.
Paradise.
I have a couple of questions. One on the local level. Our BA is an affiliate. Our WBA is a regular association. Now that we have to merge, can we merge as an affiliate or as a regular?
The intent would be that you would merge as a regular. There's no reason why we wouldn't want to help you do that, and we hope that you will want to do that.
Well, I think the women do. I'm not sure about the fellas.
That's okay. We're
'Cause
here
they're
to
an
help.
affiliate right now.
Hey, those fellas, in Paradise there in Kansas, they're reasonable people. I'm from there.
I think they'll go along with this because they've already said, you guys do all the work.
I'm happy to make a trip in and see my mom and sit in a meeting and talk about it. Just kidding. The point that I'm trying to make is we'll be there to help, and we'll if you want the help, we'll be there to help you make the best decision possible. The affiliate is there and it's an option, but it was really an option for areas that we didn't have coverage. It was kind of an emergency option, so I wouldn't see that as a first option here. But that being said, all the options are on the table. There isn't anything that we wouldn't consider. We want to help you get to being a healthy and vibrant local association, and we'll want to put all the energy into that first.
And the second part is currently we've been told by our One Bowling Center Association that they may not reopen in August. How is that going to affect us between now and August 1, 2018, when we're required to merge, provided that center does reopen between now and then?
Without a lot more information, it would be tough to answer that question, but I think that you prepare for, the future. I mean, if it's a one-center association, we think it's going out, but we'll need to look around and see what's going on in the outlying areas. What city are you from?
Parsons, Kansas.
Okay, yeah. And so we would look around that and see what would happen. But the one thing about centers going out today, there's usually solutions that come in, pretty quickly behind it. And so we would want to be prepared for that. I'm not sure I can directly answer your question or give you a solution, but I can tell you we're here to investigate it and we'll be there to help.
Is there going to be a time frame, provided our center don't open in August, before we're going to be looked at to maybe be joined with another neighboring association?
Well, yeah, again, you'd want to go ahead and merge with where you're at, and your center's open today, so we'll move forward with the merger, and then we'll address that when it happens, rather than if. We'd certainly want to be proactive about it, but at some point in time, yeah, a neighbor association would be the way to look at it.
And then my other question pertains to the Kansas state. We've been very unique for years with our youth because none of our local associations have had a separate youth organization. And so how is now the required merger going to affect that? Will these local associations now have youth representatives on those local merge boards? And then what about the state?
Well, I think the easiest thing to do is again, we'll get you with our rules folks, our association services team, but yes, the intent would be that it would be one fully functional merged association, both at the local and the state level.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
I'm Pat Little from the Greater Austin area, USBC.
Hi, Pat.
Thank you for having this convention. I've in a different organization also, and we have conventions from all over the world. I have celiac. I have a special meal at that convention. I'm not the only person that has that condition, but I am provided food that I can eat. I have none of those choices here. The gentleman with the smoking issue, that means I cannot have wheat, barley, or rye. I get very ill. I have some concerns on the communications that we have with USBC. I'm going to give you a couple of examples. Our field rep, Robin Marshall, tried to set up a meeting with our association. I gave her a time span of even different days that we could meet.
Whoa. Do you have a question?
Yes.
What is it?
Why can't we telephone when you cannot meet? She set the date, I didn't.
Yeah.
Then she gave us an excuse that she could not meet with us.
Well, again, I think the thing to note there is if we continue to work on it together, we'll get it done. Each of our regional managers are serving about 14 or 15 states, and so there's a lot of work there. We appreciate the additional funds that are coming, and we'd like to better service you in that area. I'm not sure this floor right now is the place to talk about the performance issue of one of our regional managers. Robin does a wonderful job for the association.
I didn't mean that she does not.
No, I understand. My point is, I think let's take that offline. Let's set up a meeting with Robin, and we'll get it taken care of. Back to the food. Again, I think if we're aware of that, we can take a look at it. 2 years ago at this convention, we didn't serve breakfast or lunch like we do today. Everybody was kind of on your own. We've taken that in, and I will tell you very successfully, one of the unintended consequences of that is it's probably turned in one of the best networking events we have, to have everybody in that room talking to each other. I walk through every morning, and it's just amazing hearing the conversations that are going on and just being able to say hello and putting some faces with the names. If there's an issue with the food, let's take a look at it, and maybe we can give you some options. I'm not sure. But obviously, we're trying to feed 1,000 people, and so if we don't know, it's not something we can do, but we certainly want to try and help.
I don't disagree with that. One other thing was when I signed up for part of the sessions, or tried to, prior to the convention, then I was not successful in being able to do that. And Mike Donahue sent me a note, said, "Don't worry about it, Pat, I have you all set up." When I go and pick up my package, I ask where my tickets are, and I was told again by one of your members, "You didn't sign up for anything." And I said, "I have the email right here."
Yeah, again, if we made a mistake, we're certainly not perfect, and I apologize, and we'll do better in the future. Again, I'm not sure this is the place to really figure that out in front of this group of people. But if there's ways that we can improve over time, we want to. And if we've made a mistake, I certainly apologize, and we'll do better in the future.
I only have one comment, and I truthfully voted for the increase.
Thank you.
I don't think that it's going to go over very well because the way it was presented to my organization. But I have to vote my conscience of yes. What we did 10 years ago, we no longer can buy that same loaf of bread for the same price.
Yeah.
Yes, we are going to have to go up. But I'd like for you to look at some of the travel expenses, especially that area. Okay?
Yep, appreciate it. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, Chad. Thank you. Claudia Stinelli, Long Island, USBC, New York. I too want to thank you for a very good convention. This is my 27th, so I've been through all of the changes, WIBC, merger, everything. So I do want to thank you for that. And I was one of the ones last year that had asked to try and desperately make the convention at one of the sites because I bowl in the open and the women. So I thank you for that, and please continue to do that. And then my other question is, do we have the dates for the next convention? Because I'm trying to schedule my tournaments.
We did. We had so much fun this week. We're just going to start over again on Monday.
Okay.
I'm just kidding. It's the same week with Larson in the room? It's the same week next year. We're in final of moving it back to Monday to Thursday because I know that's what everybody wants. But literally, so it would be the same dates, and for some reason they're not popping into my head. Today is what?
29th.
So it would be the 25th through the 29th. But let me quickly pull up a calendar. Yeah, see, that's why I try not to answer when I don't know the answer.
Don't quote him on any of this.
April 2017, 24th through the 20th. Gary Brown in the room?
Gary?
24 through 28. I'm sorry, 24 through 27
Okay.
is what we're targeting.
Okay, thank you very much, and thank you for a good
Thank
convention.
you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Yes, sir. Did I get it wrong? We'll have an announcement for you a couple days on the dates.
John Vorbagel, President, Metro Detroit. I'd like to put out a thank you to Dave Lewis for the proposal, for the bylaw proposal number 3 for the due increase, and a special thanks to you, Chad, for working so hard and passionately to convince people that money is needed. The nice letter, all signed by the support of the board, for all supporting that proposal, and a special thanks to all of our delegates for finally passing this proposal. We needed it. Thanks, everybody.
Awesome, thank you. Give me a big round of applause.
Bonnie DeHardy, President, Milwaukee WBA. I'd just like to make a comment that I feel very strongly that the nominating committee should not be making comments that sounds like they are campaigning for any particular candidate on the slate. I also feel that, or I just wonder why, if a person qualifies to come off the floor, why don't they qualify to be placed on the slate? I understand you only had 3 positions, but you had 5 people that were interested, and why weren't they all just automatically put on the slate if they qualify? Thank you.
Well, I appreciate the comments. I don't know if there was a question, but I'd like to address it if it's okay. You know, this was the perfect storm, and the sad part about it is our board will say goodbye to 2 friends and 2 really good contributors to the organization when we meet next fall. And we hope that both of them will come back and run again. We really, truly do. But it was the perfect storm. The board was being downsized, announced, several years ago. But with 4 sitting board members for 3 spots and some obvious needs within the organization, I would tell you the nominating committee did a very good job of working through that. It was painful. I watched the whole thing, and as you know, I don't get a vote, but I thought they did a wonderful job. But there's lots of great candidates. I mean, there's 7 or 8 more, that didn't get interviews this year because of the way that it went through. So there's lots of great folks that are moving towards the organization through leadership. But to have 13 of them on the floor here would make it too confusing for the delegation. And I think that the group did a wonderful job. I hope the folks that we're losing will be back soon. And I look forward to getting to some of those new folks down the road. But it's just one of those really tough things. It was a rough year, and hopefully next year will be a little cleaner. Ms. Lush, Libby?
First of all, congratulations.
Thank you.
South Point. Okay, we bowled last weekend. I usually come in with 2 teams. I came in with 5 teams. I came in with 3 bowlers who had never bowled a national championship. It should never, ever, ever take me 20 minutes when I'm at the counter. The registration process needs to be reviewed. They have at least a 20-point checklist that they go through. And I was there 2.5 hours in advance so that I could get us all checked in. We could grab a bite to eat, maybe a beverage, and then bowl. The only thing to eat up there is beer, hot dogs. That's the only thing that's available to eat. So that's not very good either. But we automated the front end of that, which is really, really nice. I love that. I can just go online, I can set my lineups, I can pay my money. I received average verifications in snail mail twice, none of which needed to be verified. So my new captains are like, Libby, what do I do with this letter? So I emailed USBC Women's Championships and said, do we need to do anything? Are we all set? Yeah, you're all set. And then the next week I got a second one. And again, Libby, do we need to do anything with this? We need to look at that process, I do believe. We are so automated, and then we get here, and they're going, Social Security numbers, check. Averages, check. This, check. This, check. I am not lying to you. 20 minutes I stood at the counter, and I didn't have to provide anything. while
Yeah.
they went through that checklist. That's not a good experience. I love being able to print out our scores at that new kiosk. That's awesome. But that very front registration to a new captain is overwhelming because it was to somebody who's been there 34 years. So please look at that.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. There's a couple things to note there. We've got a lot of work to do in that area. We've made significant strides, but we've got 2 new systems going in this year, a new tournament management system that we've been working on for a couple of years, and we married it with Brunswick's new sync. And it's created some issues that we weren't prepared for. And I wouldn't tell you we weren't prepared because we didn't do the work or the due diligence on the front end. It's marrying 2 systems like that together, but the foundation is now in place where we'll move forward and it'll be more successful in the future. But the real root, I think, of the problem that's taking place right now, and we're working on it quickly, is that everyone had to be retrained. The new employees, the existing employees, the travelers. Not that we didn't have any experts, but we didn't have enough experts. So I apologize for it, but we'll continue to improve there.
One idea also that I had was, when you go on what used to be the entry blank and where all the rules are for the tournament and such, if you're brand new and you're a brand new captain, you aren't totally sure what you're doing. It's like, what does this pink sheet mean? What does that mean? I think there could be like a little introductory something, especially for someone who has never done this before, and they're bringing in people, or even if they've done it and they haven't been here in a really long time, so that it's a little bit clearer for somebody who's never gone through this process, and the process was hard.
We'll take a look at it.
Thank you.
John Simonello with the Greater Cleveland Bowling Association. This is regarding hospitality. Years ago we used to have the president's dinners, and then during the course of the time you could buy tickets for it. But now I miss this year's Hall of Fame because I'm not much, as you know, with the online and all that stuff. But I think you should put an insert so that we have it on paper. I don't care how you do it, but I would have liked to go to breakfasts, and I would have happily spent $10 to go to that breakfast. Avoid the lines with my leg, but do something along those lines.
Thanks for the
Okay,
suggestion, John.
say it.
I appreciate it. Thanks.
Constructive criticism.
No, I hear you. I appreciate it.
Phil Dickens, Seacoast, New Hampshire, USBC. Just wanted to say thank you for bringing back the PWBA. We have a TV in my break room at work, and actually it's the longest any one sport has been on the television. They actually had it on the entire time. Someone changed it to Sports Channel to get a score, and everyone was actually interested in actually punched back in late from breaks and lunches because they were too busy watching bowling.
You wouldn't believe that, but we have that problem at the campus too. We'd be a little more efficient in all these areas we've been talking about if we didn't put all our bowling on TV. I'm kidding. Thank you, sir. I appreciate the comments. That's awesome. Yes, ma'am. Oh, I'm sorry. Did we miss you over there, ma'am?
Well, my question is really quick. Donna Shaw, President, Pennsylvania State WBA. With the convention starting on Monday next year, would the schedule be pretty much the same as this year? When Tuesday, the first actual session that we had was late in the day. The reason for my question is that our annual meeting is the Saturday before the convention starts, which would create a hardship on any of our ladies attending our convention to get here. Would they be able to travel on Monday and still make all of the sessions?
Yeah, I think it's simple to say that the schedule would be similar, if not the same. We may want to make some improvements. Like this year, we had the rules seminar that first night, and so that would be your travel day in that case. But yeah, the annual meeting would be Wednesday afternoon and Thursday, where this year it was Thursday afternoon and Friday.
Okay, so it is doable.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Feels like it's Monday. I'm not sure, but yes, ma'am.
Nancy Folden, Memphis, Tennessee. Off the wall question, but my mind is wondering. When we voted today, I have no problem with the election, and I admire the speed with which the votes are counted. I have served as a teller in the old WIBC when we had to count those votes in the back room, and it took forever. So this is a beautiful plan. But if our delegate voted, say, for the same candidate on all three choices, did only one count and were two illegal?
Well, life on the farm is kind of laid back. Ain't nothing but a country boy kicking back. Early to rise, early in the sack. Thank God Mike Spricko's here.
No, you really only voted once. If you voted for the same person 3 times, you only had 1 vote cast.
Thank you.
See, I was going to answer the same way, but I wanted to hear from him. And if
Didn't
he wasn't
want to
here,
take
Mr.
away the spotlight from Mike.
Overstreet yeah, an IT question? What? Who? Huh? Hey, buddy.
Hello, Chad. Rod Sheldroth, the great state of Michigan. A little bit upset about what happened, but we'll have to deal with it. But there's some issues that I think that the information was not put out, because I had talked to some people here about their membership and what they did. As you realize, Michigan does have some good-sized tournaments. I mean, our youth tournament alone is 650 teams.
Mm-hmm.
And the women are like 1,300, and the men are like 1,800. And this is going to create a logistical problem for us. But the real problem that we're getting into is how are we ever going to be able to divide up these youth associations? And we do have a lot. And the reason I say that is I'll give you one example. We've got one on the west side of Michigan. They process membership youth from 9 different associations. And each association is different. Some are men, some are women, some are combined, some go someplace else. I mean, there's no continuity on how they're put together. And we've got 3, maybe 4 areas that are like that. How are we ever going to be able to merge these together? Because I know 2 of them said, we're just not going to do it. So where does that leave the children? I'm concerned about the kids.
Yeah. I think with any large problem or challenge or hurdle, there are 17 things that have to happen. And the key is to get focused on the first one, or 1 and 2, and identify them all. You're creating a lot of thought process in your brain there about the things and the hurdles. And so let's get them on a piece of paper and let's list them, and let's start knocking them off one by one. And some of them will be easier than others, and some of them will be tougher than the others. But saying that we're going to do it is obviously the first step. And if we'll just work them through the process, we'll get there. It's going to be a tough road. It's going to be a tough ride, but you'll have a lot of support. We're happy to, get on a plane and get up there and help you. I'm happy to. We all are. And we'll just, work through a process and put the pieces together. And a few years from now, it'll all be running very efficiently, and we'll all be proud of each other. But we've got to commit to it first. And I think it just happened. And I had a conversation with a gentleman on the stairs over there, and I don't know if he's still here, but his brain was moving 1,000 miles a minute, and I think the first thing that you have to do is breathe. We just got to breathe. We'll get it all on paper. We'll see what it looks like, and then we'll start to make progress moving forward, and we'll get there. We'll get there.
We've tried. I mean, we've already thought about this even before we came here, that the possibility was going to happen, which it did, based on last year. But we also knew that some of the issues out there were not going to be curtailed. So my question is, are you, the USBC, or your field reps, George or Ben, are they going to come in and help us say, this is the way it's going to be? If we reach an impasse on 3 or 4 associations and these kids, sometimes there's only like 12, 15 kids that would go to this local association. Are you going to be able to say, this is the way it's going to be?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the last step. I would consider us mediators at the beginning. I would consider us kind of the person in the middle that's trying to work it out with both sides. And but yeah, in the end, there's jurisdictional boundaries that come with that, and we'll look at them. And it might make the sense to open up some of those boundaries to have it make more sense. And so it would take collaboration of multiple groups to do that. But I look at us as more mediators and support and service initially. But yeah, if we can't break the impasse, then yeah, we'd certainly make some decisions.
That's where I'm coming from. When I reach that impasse, and there's a couple that I think is going to be there, I just want to know what's back here that I can fall back on and say, if this is what we've resolved, you don't follow through, then the USBC will finalize it.
Yeah, in the end, it's a process.
Okay.
And we'll be there to find the best solution for everybody, hopefully, early on in the process, so everybody's working together and it becomes more obvious. But if not, we'll certainly be, helping you make those decisions.
Okay. Thanks,
Thanks,
Chad.
Roger. I appreciate that. Yes, sir.
James Sermon, Greater Pasadena, USBC. For a financial question, on the financial statements I saw, we have like $850,000 of construction in progress, which is a fairly material amount of money. Looks like about $650,000 was spent this year. I'm wondering what kind of project we have. Perhaps it's software, but what project do we have going on, and how much more do we have to spend to complete that project?
Construction, it mostly takes place, hopefully we're talking about the same thing, and Jason, you can help if you need. Construction mostly takes place at the championships, and it's different every year. So in championship tournaments, you'll notice a build out. The women's championships right now that everybody took that path long way by that we're talking about. All the booths that are built. Open championship, same thing. There's a concourse that gets built. In years where we build in a convention center, the construction costs are much higher. It's $1.5 million to build in a convention center. And so those construction costs vary. So I'm not sure I can give you the help long term, but next year in Baton Rouge on the women's championships, we'll do a between $1.5 and $1.7 million build. Most of that will be baked into construction.
Chad, I'm Connie Brown from Nation's Capital, and I want to say how powerful and pointed on is a convention when you walk away from it smarter and wiser than when you came, and that happened to me. You guys have done a fantastic job, and I really, really appreciate it.
Thank you. You know what's incredible about that? We walk away from it smarter and wiser too from listening to you, so we appreciate that.
But one area that I wanted to ask you guys to consider expanding on is the networking. That was fantastic. Now, I ended up in the wrong session, but I came out so much smarter. And so if you could maybe expand that to other, groups that could network, that would be fantastic.
Yeah, that's, where's Larson at? He's got to be in here somewhere, right? No, still not here, huh? He must be working. We've already had conversations about it. Honestly, I just tell you a quick story. I came in on the BPA side, and we tried to do a Thursday networking session one year at Bowl Expo, and it didn't work. I thought it was a great idea. I thought the implementation of it was great, and we just couldn't get it going at that point in time, but it also probably wasn't scheduled at the right time. Where here, we've taken that exact same idea and moved it over, but it's scheduled at the right time. We did it last year for the first time, and we had our board members liaison a table. And it was fun. It really was. I think a lot of the questions ended up being, board instead of association leaders talking to each other and networking. And so when you walk around the room, it's just fascinating to watch and listen to. This year we expanded it, made it bigger, and we didn't make it big enough. So there's certainly room to improve in that area. But I've said this 100 times, if not 1,000, and I believe it. There's so much to be learned and gained from everything that we do, but one of the biggest, if not the biggest benefits of USBC and BPAA to our industry is the networking that goes on at convention. BPA is a buying show. We've got some buying going on at our show. But when you think about two neighboring associations, or not even neighboring, one from opposite sides of the country, talking to each other about what works and what doesn't, and I didn't have success at this, and then you do it on the bowling center side, hey, maybe someday we'll do some networking with some bowling center proprietors and association leaders at the same table. That would be a lot of fun. So the networking to me is a big deal, so we'll keep looking at ways to improve. I appreciate the comment.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Pat Little, Greater Austin. I would like to say the networking was fabulous. It really was. There's one statement I'd like for you to look at, and you know exactly, it almost goes along with what Libby was talking about earlier about bringing your bowlers on as they bowl. You know in advance how many teams or doubles and singles that you have. If you have a large squad, can you put on additional volunteer to get those squads in? I've been over there, and finally they said, can you just come back later? I've been there twice. Maybe the third time will work.
We've got some improving to do. Mr. Ashley?
Thank you, Chad. Now that I've asked the question for somebody else, now it's time to ask questions for me. First off, the move to Monday, Thursday. A year ago when the convention had to shift from Indianapolis to Omaha, the days also had to shift because of facility considerations. Next year's shift to Monday to Thursday, is it also facility consideration or just trying to mix?
No, if you remember when we went back and did that, the surveying, the research, Monday to Thursday was preferred. We moved it because of the facility, and then when we came here, we tried to move it back to Monday to Thursday. It actually came up in this town hall. It was a really good discussion. But the Orleans had an event, and so we couldn't move it back. So we've engaged them in conversations to move it back. Our belief is that's what the delegates want. And we'll learn that again from the surveys that we do post-convention.
Okay, because it's been primarily Tuesday through Friday. We've had a Wednesday to Saturday, Monday to Thursday. So it keeps kind of changing. So again, looking for some consistency. I know this time of year is a little brutal with end of season for both as association volunteers, and a lot of us are league officers. We've got end of season stuff and things we have to worry about with our leagues. And then following up on Mr. Hurtcombe's comment about the smoke and the aura of smoke through the casino, I also was affected, and realizing we're going to be here next year, perhaps some information to help the delegates in getting from their rooms to here without having to go through the casino. Some options that way. I know there's not much you can do as far as, changing policy, but things like that, some additional tips that might help.
We'll look into it, Bob. I was going to make a really funny joke there, but
go ahead. Hey,
I don't want to minimize it. I get the smoking, and it's tough, and I'm with you. You could probably get out the front door, around to the other side, and up the escalators, and that would probably be the shortest way to do it. Mm-hmm. But you don't have to go all the way around the building outside, and we might be having conversations about that being too long. Okay. And I'm not sure anybody would do it, but I hear you. I'm with you. We'll look for ways to improve. I did want to make one comment based on the first conversation that you were having. Monday through Thursday, it's $59 room nights the whole time. It's actually $49 to $59 if you come in on Sunday night. And so the delegates will save money by doing it that way rather than doing it on the Tuesday through Friday, which is another consideration. And again, it's not one's right, one's wrong. It's
right. Yeah, it's just the economics.
But we're going to survey on it again, and hopefully everybody will fill out the survey and tell us what they want.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Forrest Cole with the Wyoming State USBC. I'm a relative newcomer to all this. I've only been coming about 5 years, so I'm still learning. But I can say that every year I've been here, I've seen improvement on what USBC has done for us, what it's done for bowling. I think they're making some great strides. I mean, they've had to do it with a shrinking budget. At least now they'll have a little more to work with, and I'm sure they'll be responsible on that. On the thing in the casino with that, it seems to me at points like the staff here weren't prepared for the numbers and the influx with what else they had going on. That was what it seemed like to me more than a problem there, and I don't know if it was communication from one or the other. I don't know. I noticed some of the same stuff down at the buffet downstairs, but I ate there all 3 days. I had a great meal each time. I ate most of breakfast, but I'll agree as well. It'd be nice to be able, for those that do not get onto the computer and stuff and do that much, to have the options to come to get those breakfast and lunch, because they are great networking times, folks. I mean, those of you that did not partake of that, I would say go for it next time. Other than that, you guys are doing a great job.
Thanks,
Keep it
man.
up.
I appreciate that.
The Michigan bunch on the merger part, because I did speak in favor of that. However, we just did this 3 years ago, and yeah, we're still growing. We're still learning stuff, and I can see they're going to have some issues that we probably didn't have to have in Wyoming, because they're a little more condensed. But as far as help from USBC, ask David Prang. He heard from me a lot.
Yeah, I hear you. Back to the kind of food thing, the Orleans, generally speaking, we will also be having discussions with them, as we always would post-event, and so we'll share some of those concerns with them. I don't know if they weren't staffed up as much as it's just timing of it, but we'll have some good conversations with them about ways to improve for next year, for sure. I appreciate that. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I agree. I always say I'm a pretty good listener, and when the information's consistent, that makes it easier to listen. So thank you, sir. Yes, ma'am.
Good afternoon, Mr. Overstreet, Chad. I actually have a question for both of you. Same question for both of you, and I think you covered some of it yesterday, by the way. Mary Ellen Lindeman, El Paso USBC Director. I thought one of the most probing questions that was asked from all of our candidates, possible candidates yesterday, was the question about where do you see USBC 10 years from now? So I'd like for you to put on your visionary hat, both of you, and let me know where you think USBC is going to be in 10 years.
I'll let you drink. Let her drink your water. I think that, if you were at the technology seminar, you got an idea of some of my vision for it, and that's really being able to develop out our technology systems to be able to take advantage of the information and provide back the information across the country that all of our association and tournaments take in. I mean, in my mind, a big thing, part of what USBC does as a service to the industry is being able to verify and validate the competition. I mean, at our core, that's what we are, a national governing body. We certify competition, we certify equipment, and all of our associations networks are the ones that make that possible. And so to be able to then advance forward, if you think of what technology will be in a few years, when the number of people on mobile devices are up from 50% hitting our systems to upwards of 100, to where everybody who walks in to compete is able to have complete records of their scores, not just at the Open Championships and in League, but in other places they participate, where our local associations data then is seamlessly integrated in with the state association data and the national data, so that you have a full picture of what a bowler's resume is, what their competition is, so you can really have true apples to apples. And we can take data from centers and be able to make sure that we have the topography elements of certain certification taking place consistently and verified. All of those things, I think, are possible through our fabulous association networks, through improvements in technology, and think of what that would mean to our game to increase the integrity, to be able to broaden the participation. I just think there's lots of great opportunities there, and I can kind of see it all in my mind. So I love the question, and I look forward to at least trying to take some steps to get there.
Yeah, and Jason and I are in lockstep there. I mean, from a technology perspective, one of the great things about the dues increase is most of the issues that we have, and I've been very consistent with this, is that we, have been understaffed. I mean, in some cases we didn't have the right people in the right places, but not being properly staffed hasn't allowed us to take those next steps, especially in terms of technology. And so the data mining that'll go in, new tournament management systems that associations can use, all those things were on the table anyway, but they're going to be easier to achieve, and I think from a technology perspective. But the other thing that I would share, 10 years from now will be 6 years later than 4 years from now, and the decisions that were made in this room today our association is going to look very different 4 years from now. That's just the reality of the merger legislation that went through. We're going to spend a lot of time working over the next 24 to 36 months to get everybody on the same page in those areas that currently aren't, that extra 27% of the membership that currently is unmerged. And so once we get to that point, from there, it's just training and educating and getting everybody, rowing from the same, canoe, if you will. And I think that we'll be much more successful working together, local, state, and national together, 4 or 5 years, and then we'll see the results of that 10 years from now. It's going to be a lot of work up front. There's no doubt about that, but we will see the results of that, getting towards that 10-year mark, and I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, I want to cover convention. Back in 1976, we out of Hawaii put a package together to hold a convention there. Well, since '76, nothing has happened. Last year in Omaha, I mentioned about Hawaii. My concern is we have 4 islands that have associations, and the cost to have them all come to a convention on the mainland would be almost impossible. We would like to hold a jamboree with somebody from USBC, representing USBC, coming to Hawaii. It's been... It's, like I said, it's been 12 years since we had anybody from Hawaii.
The really
from
great thing
USBC.
about together. I know everybody would love to go to Hawaii, and not to be the killjoy, because but when we think about our members and how much money they spend to come to convention, and the location of it, and how far they have to travel, and all the things that go within that. And I made a joke about it last year. I'm for going to Hawaii with convention. There's no doubt, but I just don't think that would be supported by the delegates. But I think regional education is another thing that you brought up.
Yeah, but there's certainly some room for regional education. I think Mike Larson has certainly earned a trip this week. I don't think there's any doubt about that. Ginger?
Hi, Ginger Trepoy, Great Plains USBC, Paradise.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I just wanted to say what you guys did with the professional women bowlers here today, getting the autographs, that was fantastic. 2 thumbs up to you. Thank you so very much. That was marvelous.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Hi, I'm Dave Eggleston from Central California. I have a couple questions. One of them is, why can't we verify averages of that day? Why is it the 1st of January, the end of the league? All the information is right up to date. As soon as you sign into a tournament, you can see what today's average is. And if it's different than our declared average, well, then you can do an adjustment. That's one of my questions. The other one is the dues, or the yearly annual dues. That wasn't redundant. In Hawaii, by the way, don't I look good in a Speedo? The annual dues, why can't you have two points where you pay full price? June 1st, May to June 1st for the summer leagues, they can have it for the whole year, or September, October when you start the winter leagues.
You want to take the first one?
I wasn't able to hear it, I'm sorry.
Why isn't the certified average active immediately when it goes in the system?
I wasn't aware that it wasn't active in the system as soon as it was submitted through WinLabs.
Well, good, because that's the way I was going to answer it too. I think it is active immediately.
Yeah, that's what I thought. That you could, as soon as you said, I'm from a BMX background, and one of the things that I compare everything that you guys do to what we did when I owned a track. Pretty much one of the main things is if we advertise first race at 1 o'clock, we had 3 races done by 1:05. Whether our computers shut down or whatever, we're able to catch up during the races. So when people sign up and you don't have the right information, instead of having my wife bowl at 3 o'clock in the morning 3 years ago or 4 years ago, or, why not just let them bowl their squads, get on and off on time? You're not paying them that day. If there's any mistakes, by the time the checks come out, you can correct any mistakes that are happening. For instance, the social security number and all that stuff. Why mess with that stuff?
Yeah, I'm not sure I'm clear, but I think that there's a process that's in place and our folks follow it. But as I said earlier, there's certainly ways to improve the process, and we look into them all the time. The new tournament management system that's being developed that will be in place will tie all of our systems together, and it will be much more efficient. But the first phase of it just rolled out a few weeks ago, and we tied it into sync at Brunswick. So there are essentially three and a half more phases over a 3 to 4 year period. The dues increase will certainly help us pay for that. So I think some of those efficiencies are coming. We're just not there today.
Okay.
Thanks.
I just want us to get caught up with the rest of the world as far as computerization and all that.
I want to get caught up so Jason will stop pushing me to catch us up faster. So I'm with you there. There's no doubt about that. There isn't anybody here that doesn't want to get caught up quickly. Yes, sir.
Joseph Ross, Pennsylvania State Bowling Association. It's my first time here, hopefully the first of many, and I want to congratulate you on a successful convention, and I and many other first-timers, I'm sure, had a great time here, and we look forward to coming back. I will say, as part of a non-merged association, I do not have a chip on my shoulder. I look forward to fulfilling my oath that I took to uphold the bylaws and the charter that was given by USBC to us, and I'll see that through. And I heard drinks are going to be on Jay Derriman later.
Thank you, sir. It gives me an opportunity when he says that, and I know it's easy to say thank you for doing that, but it's really all those guys in the red shirts, all those folks that have put in all these hours. Our staff just did a wonderful job this year, and they're doing it all day long every day, so thank you. Appreciate it. JC?
My question is, we are meeting here next year for the convention. We also are going to be bowling at South Point. Do you think you'd be able to arrange a shuttle service for delegates who are going to be bowling at South Point and that are going to be here?
The great thing about giving you guys what you asked for is that you ask for 2 or 3 more things. I mean, JC, it's like my 9-year-old, we give in, and then it's another thing, and it's another thing, and it's another thing. We put the championships in here so we could all do it together. We'll look into it. It's probably something that we should have looked into this year. It's tough because you've got a small amount of people, and so it's not going to be all that efficient. It's going to be very expensive for us to do, but we're going to look into it because we probably should have done it this year.
Thank you.
I was making a joke about my 9-year-old. Any other questions? Last call for questions. Jason, you got anything we want to offer as close?
Thank you all for making this such a successful year. We really appreciate it. It's been a lot of fun.
We'll see you next year. Can't wait.